Hag Sameach. Hag Hanukkah Sameach. All right, so we are in Maketz. And what does Maketz mean again? Others? You forgot? I remember we asked you that question last night. You mean in the end? At the end? At the end? In the end? Okay. So there's a lot of I mean, the story of Yosef is like really one of the, I don't know, I feel it's like one of the best, one of the better stories in the Torah, right? There's lots of symbolism, lots of connections to Mashiach. I mean, he was obviously a Mashiach in his time. He saved not only Egypt, but like all the surrounding area. So there's all these connections to Yosef, and which is another reason why Yeshua is connected, and we call him Mashiach ben Yosef. So he's like a Mashiach, like Yosef was, where he came and he might have had to suffer like Yosef, and then he also saved people, right? And then we also believe that he's coming again, right? As Yeshua ben David. No, sorry, Mashiach ben David. So, but this is a different. My message today is a different. It's not about that kind of about all that. Today, I want to look at the names that Yosef gave to his sons, right? So Yosef went through all these trials. He was sold into slavery. He was working as a slave, and then he got falsely accused and went to prison, right? For a few years, and he was, he went through all these trials, right? And so afterwards, but yet he still rose above it, right? He still had faith that Hashem was doing what is right, and was with him, even though he was in prison, and and even though he told the butler to remind, to try to help him get out of prison or something, but the butler forgot him as well, right? And so he had a lot of reasons to be upset, but he wasn't. He still was pressing on, still faithful, right? So what was Joseph's faith? What was his secret to this unshakable faith, right? So we see after everything's done, he was up as second in command of all of Egypt, and during those years of plenty, he had two sons. He had Manasseh and he had Ephraim, right? And Manasseh means like forget my troubles, essentially. Forget the past, and keep moving. And then Ephraim means is it child of plenty or something like that? And it just means flourishing, right? It means the opposite. One is forgetting, and one is flourishing, right? One is like to grow and to be better. And so, we see that, Yosef is like, in the naming of his sons, he is kind of telling us how he, I guess, deals with problems and issues in his life. So it seems like, and he forgets them. He forgets whatever problem it is and keeps moving. And then he, he allows Hashem to use him to flourish. So here, we have this example, and then we also have what Yeshua has said to us in John verse 10 that kind of connects this idea. As Yeshua said that I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. So they're not just surviving, they're not just getting by. Yeshua wants us to have life more abundantly, not just life, but more abundant life, right? To thrive in a sense. Not survive, but to thrive. And so this really connects to us, right? it really connects to Yosef in how he didn't merely just survive while he was a slave or merely survive when he was a prisoner, but he actually did thrive in those times. So he did have this connection to Hashem. And then we have some other examples, right? We can look. There's other examples in history. One of the more notable examples, I feel, are Holocaust survivors. So we have some Holocaust survivors that survived such a terrible thing, horrors, right? And can't even imagine how bad it was. And yet, you hear of them afterwards, after they are out of it, away, saved from it, and then they like thrive. They have big families. They have businesses and things afterwards. It didn't stop them. It didn't. They had every reason to not thrive, but they did thrive afterwards. So they too had this Yosef idea, this Yosef spirit, that they forgot the troubles of the past and continued on and thrived. And of course, we have a very famous saying called Gamzu Letova, was said by try here. It was in the Talmud, said by Nachum Ish Gamzu. I guess he was named after this saying, right? In a sense, his nickname was Gamzu because his saying is Gamzu Letova. So Nachum Ish Gamzu. This phrase means this too is for the good. So you'll hear it oftentimes when something bad happens. Maybe someone passes away, or there's we're not sure why Hashem lets these things happen, but we say this Gamzu Letova because we know this too is for the good. And I think Yosef must have said this, in his daily life, because he kept going, right? And he even said, well, we'll hear it in next week's portion. I think we'll even hear him say, it was Hashem's plan. It was Hashem's plan that you delivered me as that you sold me into slavery, essentially. So, but that's a preview for next week. Right? But so Yosef had this idea that Hashem was always in control, no matter what is happening, good or bad. He's always in control. So and he didn't just it kind of teaches us to look past our hardships and to know that Hashem's plan is the best plan, right? So now I often give a challenge. So this is your challenge this week. So in this week, identify 1 hour in your week that you spend on survival mode. I call it survival mode. It's when you're like, I guess, exhausted, maybe troubles or worries or whatever, and you're just in survival mode. You're like scrolling on your phone, or you're just watching TV or whatever it is to just like give you an escape, right, from what's going on around you. But I say, instead of doing that, do something else that will still allow you to escape these troubles, but do a different thing. I want you to, there's many things that you could do, something that you want to do, but at the same time, is productive, or some kind of productive, right? So either like learning something new, learning a new skill, or work on some kind of creative project, creative outlet, drawing or whatever kind of fun thing that you enjoy doing creatively, music maybe, and then or maybe exercise will give you a way to escape, but at the same time, you're getting some exercise, or maybe even volunteering if you have the time to volunteer for 1 hour, or maybe studying something, studying Torah, or studying Hebrew language, studying, something that will allow you to thrive. Instead of you're doing the survive mode, you're doing a thrive mode, right? But it's still allowing you to escape the trouble, right? The trouble is why we do this survive mode. We're just in trouble. We're overwhelmed, right? Stressed out, But if you do something that's uplifting, but also, helps you, instead of just, and I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself. Instead of just scrolling through Facebook or whatever, you're doing something that's like giving you an escape at the same time, but also, making you thrive, making you grow. And so that's my little challenge for you. So let me remember. Maybe remember, and I want to tie this into. I was trying to think, how can I tie Yosef into Hanukkah, right? How can I tie Yosef into Hanukkah? And I was thinking like, on our Hanukkiahs, we have this one candle, we call it the Shamash, right? The Shamash means servant. And I think it really connects to Yosef, because Yosef was definitely the servant, right? He was always serving. He served Potiphar, and then he served even the guard in the jail. And then he went on to serve Pharaoh, right? He served everybody. He was a very good example of a leader, right? And so he is like the Shamash of our Hanukkiah. So that's how I wanted to connect it. So that's my drash today. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Yeah.